guys, what's up? It's me here, November, and welcome back to islandofpsa. I am November. I'm a psychiatric survivor's advocate, and I use this channel to spread information. And the first thing I want to say is, I'm so blessed to be financially free, to be able to concentrate on my YouTube, concentrate on my mental health toolkit, my Instagram, and my TikTok as my hobby. It's like my job. I don't get paid for it, but it's like a job, and I'm financially blessed and free to able to do that, because there have been times in my life where I have been financially free and I haven't been financially free. But anyways, today I'm going to talk about some psych ward terminology and some restrictions psych wards have in my experience with them, mild trigger warning for seclusion, restraints, SI, and SIB, and then I'm going to be reading a letter that's very important to me. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to mention is all the restrictions at the hospital. So I'm going to mention the two that I didn't write down, and then I can mention all the. So the two that I didn't write down is, if you don't know, I've been to the hospital 25 times, so I have a great experience. I live in the Atlanta area, so all these hospitals will be around Atlanta. First one is pure restriction. This is probably the worst one. It's when basically you are not allowed to talk to anyone else. I only had this at Summit Ridge. You're not allowed to talk to anyone else. You're only allowed to talk to the staff. And I was on this on my 17th birthday, so it really sucked. And I was on it for 2 days. And then the next one is paper gown. I've been on the paper gown at Summit Ridge twice. They only have the paper gown at Summit Ridge. But I will say, when they go to the regular hospital, to the mental hospital, they transport you in a paper gown now. But I've only been on paper gown restriction at Summit Ridge, and that's because you can harm yourself with your clothes. Not going to tell people how. I'm sure everyone has a vivid imagination, can imagine that themselves. All right. So the next one are kind of like security levels. So the baseline security is 15-minute check, then 10-minute check at some facilities, line of sight, and 1-to-1, and then even 2-to-1. So what does this mean? 15-minute checks. When you come to the hospital, you do a whole suicide assessment, and then you talk to a counselor and a doctor, and they decide what checks to put you on. Most people come in on 15 or sometimes 10-minute checks at Ridgeview. But on the 15-minute checks, staff checks you every 15 minutes. 10-minute checks every 10 minutes. Line of sight means you have to be in the staff's line of sight. In Summit Ridge, you have to sleep out. Summit Ridge and Riverwoods, you have to sleep out in the hallway so the staff can see you. Just realized another restriction. Okay, before I continue with the checks, Laurel Heights has something called community restriction, which I got for 2 hours once, and that's when you have to stay in a room and you can't talk to anyone. Anyways, kind of like pure restriction, but I guess more mild form, but you're in the seclusion room, but it's open, you can just sit there, and anyways. Okay, so 10, line of sight. Okay, so you can't close your door when you're changing on line of sight, and then you can't close the door in the bathroom, but you can shut it too, so just so it's a crack. So that's line of sight, and then 1-to-1 is when one staff member is by one patient, and I've been on 1-to-1, let's see, I don't even know how many times I've been on line of sight, can't even count, but I've been on 1-to-1, one time at Summit Ridge when I was 14, one time at Lakeview, and one at another mental hospital that's close by. So, I'll say the name. Eastside Hospital. Okay, so one time at Summit Ridge, one time at Lakeview, one time at Eastside, I was on 1-to-1. And in funny fact, Eastside, I was on 1-to-1 until I left. I was asking the doctor, I was like, I'm not complaining about getting discharged, but why am I getting discharged on 1-to-1? They was like, there's nothing we can do to help you. I was like, seriously? Wow. Is that that's horrible. I did like Eastside, but I did not like them for that. Okay, so the next thing is, hold on, let me unlock my iPad. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is unit restriction. So, exactly what it sounds. You're restricted to the unit. You can't go off for cafeteria. Can't go off for, groups. But it's weird. So, Summit Ridge, you can go to the cafeteria. They have an acute unit and then a regular unit. What they call, intermediate or PCU. It's the same. Intermediate and PCU are two different units, but they mean the same thing. Just one, the intermediate sleep with the acute, but they don't program with the acute. The PCU are the whole separate unit. So at Summit Ridge, when I was on the acute unit most of the time, and this was only the adults, because adolescents, they have everyone grouped together, but Summit Ridge, you go off for cafeteria, but you don't go out to groups, and then at Ridgeview, you go off for groups, but you don't go to the cafeteria, so I thought that was kind of interesting. And then I was on unit restriction, I was on peer restriction, paper gown, all that I didn't even talk about the paper gown. Oh, my gosh. Okay. So, paper gown. Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. You did in November. Okay. So, when I was an adolescent, I was on unit restriction at Summit Ridge. And then when I was an adult, I was mostly on the acute unit. So, I didn't even leave the unit for groups. Anyways. The next thing is... Did I go over 1-to-1? No. I didn't. Okay. 1-to-1 is one staff member to one patient. And I was on that at Lakeview and Summit Ridge. And, yeah, I talked about that. Okay. I'm losing it, you guys. PRN, that means, as needed. It's a drug, so it's a chemical restraint is another name for it. It can either be done orally. Usually the psychiatric trio is Haldol, Ativan, and Benadryl. It can be done orally, or they even call it booty juice because they give you a shot in your butt. And it's not fun. It knocks you out like a truck, you guys. Like, it completely knocks. Like, I've seen grown men, like, drooling, sleeping on for days because of it. But, yeah. And then, let's see what else. Restraints. I've been in, I told this story on, I don't even know what video because I pump out videos like crazy, but I told this story on one of my videos. I don't even know which one now. But about my story at Lakeview, about trying to bite my finger off in restraints. I've only been in restraints twice. Once at Lakeview for 2 hours, and then once at the hospital for like 15 minutes for pulling out my hair. And Lakeview, I was trying to harm myself. So that's why I was on restraints. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is read this letter. When I was 14, I was at Summit Ridge around Thanksgiving. And there was literally like 4 of us girls there, and we were all really close. We all got really close to each other. And, we all, read, like, and then once this girl, she was 18 at the time, and she got moved to the adult unit, because sometimes when you're 18 at Summit Ridge, you program with the adolescents, you sleep with the adults, but she got moved to the substance abuse unit. So she gave the staff to give to me a letter, and the staff took it, make sure there was no social media, and they read it, and then when my dad was packing my stuff for Lower Heights, he saw it, and he cried, because he said someone saw in me what he saw me, and he was so happy someone else saw me what he saw me. So this is what it says. Sweetie, I can see you are a fighter. You fight for yourself to be understood and for others not to be treated unfairly. I love that about you. You have such a pure heart. Please understand that, yes, while some people don't care about anything other than themselves and their own happiness, they aren't targeting you specifically. I encourage you to be the white flower that grows in the desert rock. Be the change you want to see in this world. Please, 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 don't kill yourself. Your kindness helped me my first day at Summit Ridge feel like an inviting, safe place. I was so suicidal. Life felt so alone. I thought there weren't a kind soul left. No one was ever going to fight for me. I won't lie to you. The whole world isn't kind, but if all the kind people won't fight for their own lives, then how will the world ever change? I can feel your pain, struggle, and frustration, but as you grow, I promise you will understand yourself better. You could be the counselor that helps those girls no one understands. As for you, blowing up and losing control of your emotions because you felt unfair, I pray that you take a moment and breath and write down the facts. A lot of times things can get jumbled up. That's our mission. So please journal. Journal all the good things. The little things that make your brain or heart smile, a butterfly, or the bad when you meet an a-hole and see everyone thinks he's an A2. The ugly, accept that these visions happen and will torment you until you stop giving them power. They may stop, they may not. I still have mine, but realize they're just dreams. Only you can wave them away and laugh at them and focus on them. There ever seems to be much too good. Sweet girl, I'm here. Good's here, not God's here. Good's here. I'm going to share her name, obviously, because that's the first and last name, and she didn't ask, privacy. But yeah, my dad passed in 2015, and I've kept that letter. That's actually a copy of it ever since then. Also today, vloggy. Today, me and my roommate, Lori, we went to, we ran some errands, and we went to Goodwill. And I found these glasses for $3, and I can see of them, and I love them. And then I found some pants. They're just like flare pants. I don't know how to describe them. Just pants. Just flare pants, like yoga pants, but nicer material, I guess. And then my roommate and I got these chocolate-covered eggs at the grocery store. They are so good, you guys. Anyways, that's it for today. Be sure to check out my Linktree if you like what I'm doing, and I appreciate the support. Bye, guys.